G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new Digimon deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at the big bad red deck of the BT6 format, Jesmon. So this deck is based around my playstyle and the things that I see in my local meta. So feel free to let me know what you would do differently in this deck. And if you do run something similar, let me know how you guys go with it as well. Without any more babbling, without any more talking, let's get right into the deck profile. Starting off with the eggs, we are running 4 Demi-Meramon and 1 Bibedomon. So we are running Demi-Meramon in there basically because it's a DP buff for the deck. So whenever we're attacking security, we gain 1,000, which is really handy to get us up over that 15,000 threshold, which the biggest monsters we can run into in the security will be at. And then the Babymon is in there for synergy with Jesmon. So its effect is your turn when this Digimon has piercing, it gains 2000 DP. So it is a buff which synergizes really well with Jesmon. The Demi-Meramon goes well with anything that we want to swing into security with. So those are our eggs right there. Moving on to the level 3s, we are running 3 Huckmon. Huckmon's in there as the searcher for our deck. So on play, reveal the top 5 cards, add 2 Digimon cards which have Huckmon, Jesmon or Systemon in their name. So really good if you're bricking to find your pieces, but we're only running 3 because we don't want to see a lot of him, because then we can end up bottom decking some of our options or other pieces that we need which don't fall under the category of Huckmon, Royal Knight or Systemon. We are also running 3 of the new starter deck Guilmon. He's in there for a couple of reasons. One is his inheritable effect is really handy. So your turn, once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, trigger draw 1. So that can be deleted through battle, through card effect, which you're going to be doing a lot of. Both of those in this deck. You can draw 1, add that extra bit of consistency to the deck. The other effect, which is his main effect, so your turn, if your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon in play, you can just straight Digivolve for a cost of 4 into the brand new starter deck Galmon, which has a bit of removal, also has some extra security attacks there. So if you're really struggling, go straight into him, apply a bit more pressure that way. Our level 3s, we are running 3 of the starter deck Agumon. So he's in there similar to why we have Demi-Mera in there, just an extra DP boost when we are swinging at security, once again to help us get above that 15,000 threshold there. And then the last of our red level 3s, we are running 2 Monodramon. The reason why we have him in there is because he is a 2 play cost, which is really handy for helping with memory control in the games. We're left at 1, we can choke our opponent at 1 by playing him. Also allows us to get more bodies on board if we have more memory to play with. Moving on to our white Digimon for the deck, we are running 3 Systemon Blanc and 3 Systemon Seal. So the Systemons have some really handy effects. So we'll start with Blanc. Blanc's main effect there, so whenever you have a Huckmon or a Royal Knight in play, which is all of your level 7, 6s and a bunch of your levels 3 to 5, any Systemon in play then gains blocker. So if you have multiple Blanc out, if you have Seal and Blanc out, they all become blocker, which is really handy. And the on-play effect of Systemon Blanc is to draw 1. So when you're breaking at the beginning, play, draw. I actually like to play my Systemons nice and early, just to apply a bit of pressure, because they can be revived from the trash with your Judgment of the Blade as well as your Jesmon. Moving on to Systemon Seal. Systemon Seal is a 4 cost to play normally, but it's technically a 3 cost because its on-play effect is to gain 1 memory. So yeah, it becomes a 3 cost, and then if you call out Systemon Seal off other effects, you gain a free memory, which can help you with memory choking, help you go into more plays, which is really great. And the all turns effect for Systemon Seal is everything with Huckmon or Royal Knight in their types or name gains 2000 DP. So extra buff for your Jesmon, your Galantmon, your Omnimon, Blitz, which we are all running in the deck there. Moving on to the other level 4s that we have, we are running 3 of the Bauhackmon. So Bauhackmon's in there for a really good inheritable. So when attacking, if you have a Systemon in play as well, you get to delete a Digimon with 5000 DP or less. Helps you get over most of those cheap blockers. Helps you get over most level 4s, pretty much all level 3s as well. So really, really good form of removal. We are also running 2 starter deck Greymon as level 4s there. So this is simply in there just to apply a bit more pressure, because its inheritable is gaining an extra security attack. For the blockers in the deck, we are running 2 Monochromon, and we are running 2 Cordramon. So we're running Monochromon in there just to help with memory control. So sometimes having a 1 cost level 4 is really handy. If we're set at 0, we can also choke our opponent to 1 with him as well. And then we're running 2 Cordramon in there just because it is a 6000 DP blocker. As we mentioned before, Bauhackmon can remove 5000 fairly easy with its effect, so it's really good to have some Cordramon, especially when it comes to the mirror match. And rounding off our level 4s, we are just running 2 Agunimon. So Agunimon's in there purely to be a finisher, because we can Digivolve him for a play cost of 2 on top of any red tamer, so yeah, really great to close out some games there. Moving on to our level 5s, we are running 4 Savior Hackmon. So Savior Hackmon is one of the few Digimon that we run 4 of in the deck, and it's because it has some broken effects. So the first one is when Digivolving, so this has got to happen not in the breeding area but in the battle area. So when Digivolving, you can play a Systemon from your hand without paying its memory cost, so you can go into those blunks to get a blocker as well as a draw 1. You can go into those seals to gain that DP boost, to also then gain a memory to go into more plays or help with your memory choking game. And then the inheritable is also really handy. So if you have a Systemon out, which you should get from your when Digivolving effect, or if you have a Jesmon out, you should be able to get one out pretty quickly, pretty easily. But if you have a Systemon out, you can unsuspend this Digimon. So it helps your Jesmon, helps your Gallantmon or your Omnimons if you get to that point swing for multiple checks multiple times in a turn. So really good against those control decks. Really good for applying lots of pressure there. The other level 5s that we are running 2 Groundramon and we are running 2 Voltramon. So Groundramon's in there as a really cheap vanilla Digimon. So 2 to Digivolve into or 5 to hard play, which is really not that much. So if you do brick, which Jesmon is known to brick sometimes, don't be afraid to throw out a Groundramon, because then you can go into your Jesmon, your Gallantmon the very next turn, bring some more bodies out, get some board wipe going on there, which is really great. And the Voltramon's in there just because of its inheritable of gaining an extra security attack, which is really good against those control heavy decks. You want to be clearing lots of security in one go to avoid triggering effects if you have that delicate plan in play. Now moving on to our level 6s, we are running 4 of the big bad Royal Knight himself, Jesmon. So Jesmon has some really good effects. So the first is when attacking, you may play 1 Systemon from your hand or your trash without paying its memory cost, and that's not once per turn. So if you have that Savior Hackmon underneath and you get to restand, swing again, you get another Systemon out, which is really broken. Then for your turn, when this one is once per turn, when you play another Digimon, so that can be off that first effect or can just be if you just play something, you gain 3000 DP and piercing for the turn, which is really good. So if you have the Agumon, Sardak Agumon, you have the Demimeramon, you're gaining 6000 with that effect. So you're swinging for 17,000 at security with piercing, and you may have multiple checks with inheritables or ties out there as well. So yeah, super handy, apply lots of pressure. You're swinging over anything big in security, which is good to know, having that peace of mind. Then the other level 6, our secondary level 6 that we're running 2 starter deck Gallantmon. So Gallantmon's in there purely to deal a lot with the control decks. I like to get Gallantmon out when taking on security control, making sure I have a good stack. And having a delicate plan in my hand, playing that, swinging for multiple checks, because Gallantmon's main effect is gaining a security check. If you have Voltramon, if you have the Greymon, if you have the ties, you're swinging for 5 times there. If you don't have the Voltramon and you have the Savior Hackmon in there and you have ties out there, you can swing for like 10 times with the Gallantmon in one go. And if you have that Delicate Plan in play, you're not worrying about any options, you're not worrying about any of big Digimon, because you can easily get him above 15,000 as well. If we look at the when attacking effect, that helps us to know when we can boost up there. So this is also important to know, this is not a once per turn when attacking effect. So delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less, and if you can't do that, this Digimon gains 3,000 DP. So you get to delete twice, or you get to gain 6,000 if you have that Savvy Hakmon underneath as an inheritable. So yeah, you're easily clearing that 15,000 mark. And yeah, you're getting that those multiple swings in there. So Gallantmon, really good. And as we mentioned before, you can go warp Digivolve into him off your Guilmon if you come to that stage. Moving on to the last Digimon in our deck here, we're running 2 of the Blitz Omnimon. So Blitz Omnimon's really good as a finisher in the deck. Has the Blitz effect, so if you pass a memory when you Digivolve, you can still swing. If you have those multiple checks as inheritables, great. You have that ties, you get more checks in there. Super handy to apply more pressure if you're not using him as a finisher. And then the other effect is there. So when you Digivolve, you can unsuspend, so you can Digivolve him on top of a Digimon that you've already swung with. But then the all turns effect is really handy to apply some pressure if you're not using Omnimon Blitz as a finisher. So it says if an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand or the bottom of the deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 underneath this card. So you're forcing your opponent to use 2 removal options to get rid of Omnimon if he's not used as your finisher. So really good for applying pressure and some good board presence there. For our tamers, we are just running 2 Taikamiya. So Tai's in there for our memory tamer, so you make sure that we start with 3 every turn. But he also gives security attack +1 to any red Digimon that has a stack of 4 or more underneath of it. And so if you have both out, yeah, getting 2 extra checks there, you're applying lots of pressure there. For our options, so this is kind of where it really depends on the meta that you're facing in your local area. But for me, I'm running 2 Delicate Plan, running 1 Judgment of the Blade and 1 Gaia Force. So Delicate Plan's in there for those control heavy decks and for those blue decks, purple decks, musketeers. So anything that's going to have lots of nasty options that will pinch you in the bum when you see them. Yeah, making sure they don't activate. 1 cost card that stops those options activating security, really handy to have. Judgment of the Blade is a really good one as well. 1 cost as well. It has 2 really good effects. So its main effect is one of your Hakmon or Royal Knights can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So that's not just 1 attack. So if you have that Savvy Hakmon on, you can attack 2 unsuspended Digimon with this card for 1 cost. Absolutely insane. And the security effect is also broken. So if you see this insecurity, you can play a Systemon from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost. Insane. And then you can still add this card to your hand. So Judgment of the Blade is really good when you come against the mirror match. So if you're seeing lots of Jesmon, I might drop a Delicate Plan for another Judgment of the Blade, or drop them all together for more Judgment of the Blade. So yeah, really good card to have. And then I run the 1 Gaia Force in there just has to have access to some big boy removal. So we have our Gallantmon and our Hakmon to help with a small removal, but that Gaia Force is in there to help get over those big bad boys if we don't have a Judgment of the Blade allowing us to attack over them. Alright, let's have a look at some stacks that I like to make, especially when it comes to versing things like security control, because it's seeing a lot more play, so things to be mindful of. So with versing security control, you want to get things out like your Systemons, swinging, getting that chip damage in. As I said before, Jesmon you can revive, just getting your rookies out, applying pressure, forcing your opponent to remove or attack into them, so you can save your security while you're building up your perfect stack. So the perfect stack you want to see against your control heavy decks, you want to start with the Demi Meramon for that DP boost. and then go into your starter deck Agumon for the exact same thing. You want that DP boost so we can make sure we're getting over that 15,000 so we're not dying to any Digimon in there. Then what I want to go into next is the starter deck Greymon. Gain that extra security attack, which is really handy. We want more of that so we can clear lots of things in one go from their security. Then I like to go into Savior Hakmon. So the reason why I like to go into Savior Hakmon is because if I can get a Systemon out, I can swing again. And the reason why I like to swing again is because my ideal level 6 going against control heavy decks is Gallantmon. So if we have Gallantmon out there, he gains a security attack. We're also getting a security attack from the Greymon. And if we're playing a slow enough game, hopefully we can get a couple of ties out as well, or hopefully they're checked in security. So if we have this set up right here, which is super ideal, doesn't always come up having both ties out, but it's usually pretty easy if you can play slow enough while surviving, controlling enough to get this stack made up. So we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks with Gallantmon in there. And if we're playing things like our Delicate Plan, we're not dying to any effects in security. Gallantmon's going to gain 3,000 of his effect because we're not likely going to be deleting anything against a security control or very controlling matchup with Gallantmon's effect. Then you're also getting another 3,000 of Agumon and Demi-Meramon's effect. So yeah, you're easily above that 15,000. You're swinging 5 times. If you have both ties out there, Delicate Plan, you're not dying to anything. And then if you do have a Systemon out in play, you can restand with your Savior Hakmon and swing for another 5. So that's 10 checks. 10 checks with no worries about anything in security. And so then if you get to that point, you can go into your Goonie if you have enough memory to finish off the game, or you can also go into your Omnimon and go for game that way. So that's kind of like my ideal setup that I like to go for when it comes to security control, those very controlled heavy decks like your Musketeers. Your Musketeers and your Beelstar decks with all those sorts of shenanigans. Otherwise, in other decks, when it comes to your Gabumon matchup, you just want to be nice aggro. You need to outpace them, otherwise you will lose. This probably the hardest matchup this deck has is against the Bond deck, so you just want to be nice and aggro. Swing as soon as you can, whenever you can. You've got to outpace them while still trying to build up a decent stack in there. So ideally against any other matchup, really, you want to go into your Jesmon so you can build up that board presence, be able to swing more for game that way. Otherwise, yeah, for those road decks, you really got to read them. You want to know if you want to play more aggro, bit of slow control, or if you want to play really slow like you would to kind of get this set up there. Alright guys, that's it for today's deck profile. Thank you so much for checking it out. Once again, if you do like the video, make sure you do like it and you hit subscribe. It helps us out so much. It gets our videos out to more people. And yeah, helps us to keep on making this content for you guys. If you want to see any other deck profile, let us know in the comment section down below, and we'll do our best to get as many out as we can. But stay tuned for more. There's going to be more Digimon stuff. There's going to be more other TCG stuff, including openings if you are into that. So thank you so much again for checking out today's video. Stay beautiful, don't do drugs, and we'll catch you in the next one.